This single bodyweight exercise builds muscle throughout your entire body. One single exercise, up to 25 muscles activated at the same time. This isn't clickbait. This is what happens when you stop training body parts separately and start using movements that integrate your entire body in one continuous sequence. And the best part is that, contrary to what this fitness industry constantly claims, you don't need any equipment to do this. No gym, no monthly fees, no machines. That's why today you'll learn this exercise from scratch with step-by-step execution, and as a bonus, 6 more movements that follow the same logic. Maximum muscles, minimum time, 0 equipment, targeting only what's essential, a strong physique with good aesthetic appeal that doesn't leave functional strength behind. That's why today you'll see 7 bodyweight exercises that build muscle throughout your entire body simultaneously without needing absolutely anything beyond your own body weight. Before we start, please leave in the comments your name and the city where you're watching our content from. We'd love to know. Let's get straight to what matters. Exercise number 1, Inchworm with push-up. The Inchworm with push-up is, without exaggeration, one of the most complete bodyweight movements that science has ever mapped. It was built on a principle that most practitioners completely ignore. The human body was designed to move in an integrated way, not in isolated parts. A study published in the Journal of Human Kinetics identified that multi-joint compound movements like this simultaneously recruit more than 20 muscle groups, generating stimulus for strength, mobility, and stabilization in a single continuous sequence. This means that during a single repetition, your body activates the quadriceps, hamstrings, glutes, pectorals, triceps, deltoids, serratus anterior, deep core, and spinal erectors, all at the same time and in a coordinated manner. It's the opposite of an isolated exercise. It's an exercise that works exactly as the human body was designed to function. To execute correctly, stand with knees slightly bent and bring your hands to the floor while maintaining a neutral spine. Walk your hands forward until you reach the high plank position, with arms extended directly below your shoulders and your body forming a straight line from head to heels. Lower your chest to the floor in a controlled manner, performing the complete push-up, and then walk your hands back toward your feet before returning to the starting position. A tip that makes a real difference in practice. When walking your hands back toward your feet, try to keep your legs as straight as possible. This increases the active stretch of the hamstrings and improves mobility of the entire posterior chain over time. Regular practitioners report visible improvement in hamstring flexibility in just a few weeks with this movement incorporated into their routine. The main errors to avoid are letting the hips rise too high or sink during the plank position, because in both cases the core stops working as it should and the spine becomes exposed. Doing the push-up with elbows too wide to the sides, which generates shoulder overload without any additional benefit. And using the lower back instead of the core to stabilize the movement, especially in the transition between the plank and the return to feet, which is exactly where this error tends to appear most frequently. Do 3 to 4 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions with 45 to 60 seconds of rest between them. For beginners, 8 repetitions executed with technical quality are worth much more than 12 done carelessly, and this is true for all exercises on this list. Regarding contraindications, this exercise is not indicated for people with carpal tunnel syndrome, acute shoulder injuries, or lumbar disc herniation in the inflammatory phase. Now let's move to the second movement, which acts precisely on the muscle chain that sedentary lifestyle punishes most. Exercise number 2, crab walk. The crab walk is one of those exercises that seem simple at first glance, and that's exactly why they're so underestimated. Most people who spend hours sitting every day are silently developing chronic weakness in the posterior shoulder chain and hip extension capacity. These are movement patterns deeply neglected by modern routine, and this exercise works both directly and effectively. What makes this movement particularly valuable is that a study from the American Council on Exercise demonstrated that exercises performed in the inverted table position activate the gluteus maximus and triceps at levels comparable to traditional exercises performed with external load. Remarkable considering you're using only your own body weight. The main muscles worked are the triceps, posterior deltoids, glutes, hamstrings, core, and scapular stabilizers. Together, they form exactly the chain that suffers most from modern sedentary lifestyle, and that has rarely worked effectively in conventional training, where the focus almost always goes to the anterior chain. To execute, sit on the floor with knees bent and feet supported on the ground. Position your hands behind your body with fingers pointing toward your feet. Lift your hips off the floor, creating a relatively straight line between shoulders and knees, and move by alternating opposite foot and hand. You can move forward, backward, or laterally, but most importantly, maintain elevated hips and keep your neck aligned with your spine throughout the entire movement. When your hips are truly elevated, you'll feel the glutes and hamstrings engaging very clearly. The most frequent errors are letting the hips drop close to the floor during movement, which eliminates almost all work from the glutes and hamstrings and transforms the exercise into something much less efficient, holding your breath, especially in longer sets, and not maintaining neck alignment with the spine, which can generate accumulated cervical tension over time. Perform 3 sets of 65 to 100 feet of displacement or 30 to 40 continuous seconds. It's contraindicated for those with acute wrist injuries, tennis elbow, or shoulder instability. The next exercise combines core and cardiovascular component in a way that few movements can replicate. Exercise number 3, mountain climber. The mountain climber is concrete proof that you don't need equipment to make your core work with real intensity. Research published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research demonstrated that this exercise activates the rectus abdominis and obliques at levels superior to many traditional abdominal exercises, including conventional crunches. The reason is direct. The climber requires dynamic stabilization instead of isolated flexion, recruiting many more muscle layers simultaneously. And you know why this happens? Because the core wasn't designed just to flex the spine, but mainly to resist movement and keep the body stable while the limbs move. This is exactly the pattern that the mountain climber trains, and it's exactly what most conventional abdominal exercises ignore. The main muscles activated are the core in all its layers: hip flexors, shoulders, triceps, pectorals, and quadriceps. This means you're working the upper and lower body at the same time, with a real and progressive cardiovascular component depending on execution speed. To execute correctly, start from the high plank position with arms extended directly below your shoulders. Maintain your body in a straight line from head to heels and alternate legs, bringing each knee toward your chest in a rhythmic and controlled manner. The rhythm can vary according to your goal: slow for focus on strength and core stabilization, accelerated for more intense cardiovascular component. A bonus tip: bringing the knee to the elbow on the same side when bringing it forward significantly increases oblique activation and makes the exercise more challenging. The most common errors are elevating the hips above the body line, which transforms the exercise into something completely different and ineffective for the core. Rotating shoulders with each leg change, losing the plank stability that is the foundation of everything, and holding your breath in faster versions. Do 3 to 4 sets of 30 to 45 seconds with 30 seconds of rest. It's contraindicated for people with impingement syndrome in the shoulder in acute phase, cervical disc herniation, or very high uncontrolled blood pressure. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. Having constant access to science-based information is what will make you progress healthily long-term in the exercise world. Exercise number 4, pistol squat. The pistol squat is widely recognized as one of the most honest tests of unilateral functional strength in the human body, and it's not by chance. While the conventional bilateral squat allows the stronger side to silently compensate for the weaker one, the pistol squat exposes every muscular imbalance with surgical precision. A study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine pointed out that unilateral deep squat exercises activate the gluteus maximus and vastus medialis, the inner portion of the quadriceps, at levels up to 40% higher than conventional bilateral squats. Additionally, they intensely recruit ankle and knee stabilizers, making them valuable also for preventing lower limb injuries long term. It's strength and joint protection in the same movement. The main muscles activated are the quadriceps, glutes, hamstrings, core, ankle stabilizers, and hip flexors of the leg that remains extended forward during the movement. To execute, stand on one leg, extend the other forward in front of your body, bring your arms forward as counterweight, and descend slowly to the bottom of the squat, keeping your heel firmly on the ground and knee aligned with the second toe. Then rise in a controlled manner, without using momentum or bouncing at the bottom of the movement. If complete range of motion is still out of reach, use a low box as support or hold lightly onto something for balance, while developing the necessary strength and mobility. Progressing gradually here is always superior to forcing a range of motion that the body isn't yet prepared to support. The most frequent errors are the knee collapsing inward during descent, which generates considerable joint stress, the heel coming off the ground, almost always indicating lack of ankle mobility that needs to be worked separately, and using momentum at the bottom of the movement instead of real concentric strength, which drastically reduces muscular stimulus and the gains the exercise could provide. Do 3 sets of 5 to 8 repetitions per leg. It's contraindicated for people with advanced patellofemoral pain syndrome, unrehabbed knee ligament injuries, or severely limited ankle mobility. The next exercise is probably the most feared on this list, and also the most efficient from a metabolic standpoint. Exercise number 5, burpees. Few exercises in the world have such an impressive metabolic cost-benefit ratio as the burpee. In a single continuous movement, it combines the patterns of squatting, pushing, stabilizing, and jumping in a chained sequence. Regular practitioners can elevate heart rate in seconds in a way equivalent to running sprints, movements. And the reason becomes clear when analyzing the muscles involved: quadriceps, glutes, hamstrings, pectorals, triceps, deltoids, core, and calves, all working in sequence and integrated form. There isn't much more efficient than this in terms of muscle recruitment per unit of time, especially without any equipment. To execute, start standing, bring your hands to the floor, jump your feet back reaching the high plank position, lower your chest to the floor with muscular control performing the complete push-up. Push up, jump your feet back toward your hands, and finish with a vertical jump with arms above your head. The key is in the quality of transition between each phase of the movement, not speed. Speed without technique in the burpee is like driving at high speed without direction. You go far, but don't arrive anywhere useful. The most common error is executing the exercise in a rushed and disorganized manner, losing plank alignment and letting the hips drop or rise uncontrollably with each repetition. Another frequent error is neglecting the descent phase to the ground, letting the body hit the floor without any muscular control, which besides being ineffective can cause unnecessary shoulder impact over time. Do 3 to 5 sets of 8 to 15 repetitions with 60 seconds of rest, or use in the format of 20 seconds of work and 10 seconds of rest. It's contraindicated for people with acute shoulder, knee, or ankle injuries, and should be avoided by those with uncontrolled blood pressure or heart problems not monitored by a health professional. We've reached the second to last exercise, and this is the one that most surprises people when they understand what's happening inside the body during execution. Exercise number 6, bear walk. The bear walk is probably the most underestimated exercise on this list, and there's a simple reason for this. It looks strange. Seeing someone moving around the floor on all fours causes bewilderment, but what happens internally during this movement is difficult to replicate with any conventional exercise. The reason lies in the demand for simultaneous contralateral coordination, moving the right hand together with the left foot and vice versa, while the core works in total anti-rotational stabilization to prevent the hips from swaying side to side with each step. It's a neural challenge as much as a muscular one. I've observed that practitioners who include the bear walk in their routine develop noticeably superior core control in just a few weeks, precisely because no conventional exercise demands this type of coordination so specifically. The main muscles activated are the shoulders, pectorals, triceps, quadriceps, deep core with special emphasis on the transverse abdominis, glutes, and scapular stabilizers. It's one of the few exercises that integrates the anterior and posterior chains so balanced and simultaneously, without favoring one side over the other. To execute, position yourself on all fours with knees about 2 inches off the ground. Keep your back completely flat like a table and move forward by simultaneously moving the right hand with the left foot, then the left hand with the right foot, without letting the hips sway side to side at any moment. Your gaze should stay directed down and slightly forward to maintain neck in neutral position throughout the entire movement. The most common error is elevating the hips above the shoulders, which transforms the exercise into something similar to a downward dog walk and completely changes the muscular demand, losing almost all work from the quadriceps and deep core. Other frequent errors are rotating the torso with each step, which compromises the anti-rotational stabilization that is the central point of this movement, and letting the knees touch the ground, eliminating the isometric work that is precisely the differential of the bear walk compared to other exercises. Perform 3 sets of 65 to 100 feet of displacement or 30 to 40 continuous seconds with 45 seconds of rest. It's contraindicated for people with carpal tunnel syndrome, acute shoulder injuries, or knees in inflammatory phase. And we arrive at the 7th and final exercise, the gateway to one of the most neglected strength patterns in any bodyweight training. Exercise number 7, Pike push-up. The Pike push-up is the ideal starting point for those who want to develop real shoulder strength using only body weight. It functions as a natural progression between the conventional push-up and the handstand, shifting most of the load to the deltoids and trapezius instead of the pectorals. And this matters because the deltoids, especially the anterior and lateral portions, are the muscles responsible for creating the appearance of broad shoulders and the visual effect of V-taper, which is what defines the aesthetics of a strong physique even without excess muscle mass. Can you imagine the impact that proper shoulder development can have on your overall silhouette? The main muscles activated are the anterior and lateral deltoids, trapezius, triceps, serratus anterior, core, and hamstrings, which work in static stretch to maintain the inverted inverted triangle position throughout the entire execution. This means that by doing the pike push-up, you're training shoulders, arms, and posterior thigh at the same time, with the core supporting everything. To execute, start from the downward dog position, with elevated hips and body forming a triangle with the ground. Bend your elbows, bringing your head toward the floor between your hands, as if touching the top of your head to the ground, and then push back to the starting position with force concentrated in the shoulders. An important observation: the more vertical your body in this position, the greater the demand on the deltoids and the closer to the handstand you'll be in terms of intensity and muscular stimulus. Walking your feet toward your hands to increase verticality is a simple way to progress in this exercise over time. The most common errors are bending the knees during the movement, which reduces hamstring stretch and alters body positioning, opening the elbows too wide to the sides, overloading the shoulders inappropriately, and not descending with sufficient range of motion, which drastically reduces deltoid stimulus and transforms the exercise into something much easier and much less effective than it should be. Do 3 to 4 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions with 60 seconds of rest. It's contraindicated for people with shoulder impingement syndrome, rotator cuff injuries, or acute neck pain, as the position with head directed downward can significantly aggravate these conditions. If you enjoyed this and want to discover another exercise widely practiced in Asian communities to heal years of neglecting your own body, we have a video appearing right now on the screen showing each one better. Don't miss checking it out. Thank you for watching until here, and may God bless you, my friend.